Good morning and welcome to Sutra Day. Today we're covering Yoga Sutras 1.5 through 1.11. This is a group of sutras which go on to explain the different states of mind. In the beginning of the Yoga Sutras in the first book here, Patanjali explains that yoga is the calming of the fluctuations of the mind. And then he goes on to explain what are some of those fluctuations, or we might say experiences of the mind. In Yoga Sutra 1.5, Patanjali explains that there are 5 overall categories or 5 types of thoughts and sense experiences, the vitris of the mind. So experiences is a little more neutral translation for some perhaps than fluctuations. And then he goes on to explain that these experiences of the mind can cultivate either distress or peacefulness. So if you look at the words at the bottom of the screen, kleshta and akleshta, which is the distressed, obscured, colored, clouded. These are all translations. Painful. These are translations that you might see if you look up the word kleshta. And then akleshta means the opposite of that. So anytime there, or often when there's an a in front of a word in Sanskrit, it means the opposite of. And I always think that it's interesting to practice contemplating what is the opposite of whatever word you might be looking at that starts with an a in front of it. And we'll have some more of those to explore as we go on exploring the sutras. So here I've translated it to that these thoughts can cultivate either distress or peacefulness. And then in Yoga Sutra 1.6, Patanjali goes on to explain what are 5 of these vitris or mind experiences. There is right knowledge, altered knowledge, imagination, deep sleep, and memory. Yoga Sutra 1.7 and the rest that we are exploring goes on to deeper explain what these 5 types are. So right knowledge is a perception of the mind, right, that is not clouded, perhaps. And then there is altered knowledge, which I like a little bit better than incorrect knowledge. So even though below I have put down the translation, misconception from incorrect knowledge comes from illusion. So we might say misconception from altered knowledge that comes from illusion. So if we look at the word mithya, it can mean incorrect or it can mean altered. And so you can see, again, the word that you choose can make it a little more negative or a little more neutral. And illusion comes from translating the last 2 words, which is the reverse of reality. So again, we kind of have the idea of looking at something at what is the opposite of reality. And so often that is translated to illusion. But we could also just say that misconception comes from an altered knowledge that comes from the reverse of reality. And you can contemplate what might be some thought patterns that come up for you that might be the opposite of reality. And then the next mind state or experience is imagination. And this is knowledge that might be based on sounds or words that are devoid of substance. Is one way to translate it, is imagination. So if you go down and look at the Sanskrit translation, you can see that This one has, it can be quite complicated to translate. And so you can take a moment to look at the words, and if you'd like to explore more, it can be very interesting to look up the words for yourself in a Sanskrit dictionary that you can find online, and just explore a little bit more. The Sanskrit words have a lot of meaning and history behind them, which you can contemplate for yourself too, how imagination might cause you either distress or peacefulness. Right? Sometimes we use guided imagery to help us relax in meditation. We also have the imaginations of our mind that can carry us into states of worry or distress. And then there's Yoga Sutra 1.10, which is sleep. Right? But it's not just sleep, it's this sleep when we have a sense of void. Right? So dreams might actually fall into the previous category of imagination. Because this deep sleep is a mind state with an absence of impressions and a sense of a void. This is Yoga Nidra. You might notice as you look down the Sanskrit words here that sleep is Nidra. Yoga Nidra meditations have become very popular over the past few years, and these are intended to bring you to that mind state that's just before sleep. The intention is set to not actually fall asleep, but you get some of the same benefits of a deep sleep, and some studies have even said that a yoga nidra meditation, 20-minute yoga nidra meditation, can be equal to 2 to 4 hours of sleep. It can be that restorative. And that Yoga Sutra 1.11 is memory. This is the last one that is explored. Memory is when the subject is perceived, which is still present in the mind. It hasn't fully gone away. And again, we can have some memories that cause us distress, and we can have some memories that create a sense of peacefulness. Memories obviously are things that haven't gone away. They don't exist anymore. They're not in the present, but they are still in our mind. And we can think about memories that cause us either distress or peacefulness. So those are the 5 states of the mind. Again, and each of those states of the mind can cause either a sense of peacefulness or a sense of distress. And again, as part of our practice, it can be interesting to notice and just be the perceiver of our thoughts, and notice if our thoughts, if our mind experiences are cultivating a sense of peace, or if they're causing us distress.